Hello students, today we are going to solve sample paper of 10th Science Term 2 which is issued by Punjab School Education Board. So let's start. So in our section 1 there will be 5 questions and each question will be of 2 marks. So let's see our first question in this section. So first question is, what is the importance of pH in daily life? So its answer is pH is important in everyday life. So here we are going to discuss the importance of pH in daily life. Number 1, existence of living beings. Organisms require a specific pH for their ideal growth and development. In the human body, all the physiological reactions take place in the pH of 7 to 7.8. The existence of aquatic plants, animals, and microbes is at risk when acid rain mixes with natural water bodies. Next is digestion of food. The pH is important at different levels in the digestive system of the human body for the proper digestion of food. In the stomach, hydrochloric acid is secreted as food enters the stomach. It turns the pH of the stomach between 1 and 3. This pH is important for the activation of the enzyme pepsin, which helps in the digestion of protein in food. Our third point is importance of pH in soil. The pH of soil is a critical factor in the growth of crops and other plants. pH 6.5 to 7.3 is ideal for the growth of shrubs and crops. If the pH of soil is less than 6.5, lime is added to it to neutralize its acidity. Similarly, if the pH of soil is more than 7.3, gypsum is added to neutralize its basicity. Next is stopping tooth decay. Teeth decay when the pH of the mouth falls below 5.5. Bacteria present in food and the mouth break down food particles left in the mouth and form acids. This results in lowering the pH of the mouth. Tooth powder and toothpaste, which are used for cleaning of teeth, are basic in nature. They neutralize the acid produced in the mouth and protect the teeth from decay. Our next question is, what is the name of reaction between acid and base? Give one example. So its answer is, when an acid mixed with a base, then they react with each other to form the salt and water with the release of energy and cancel each other's effect. This reaction is called neutralization reaction. Acid plus base gives salt plus water plus heat. Example, sodium hydroxide reacts with HCl and it gives sodium chloride plus water plus heat. Now we have to give one example of neutralization reaction. Now see, during indigestion, which is caused due to the production of excess of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, we take an antacid, generally milk of magnesia, which is basic in nature. The antacid neutralizes the excess of acids and thus gives relief from indigestion. Our next question is, what is the common name of ethanol? Write its formula. So, common name of ethanol is ethyl alcohol. It is also called drinking alcohol or simply alcohol. Its formula is C2H5OH. Next question. State two ways to prevent the rusting of iron. We have to give two ways to prevent the rusting of iron. So here are some ways where we can prevent rusting. Paint it. Paint the metal with any durable acrylic paint. Do not use water soluble paints since they will only worsen the rust. Rust will form underneath this type of paint. Avoid contact with water or moisture. We know that the water has chemical formula which corresponds to 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. Hence, oxygen is responsible for oxidation of iron and therefore forms rust. Our third point is coat it with oil. Use of oil or grease significantly reduces the chances of developing rust in iron. Basically, oil or grease forms a protective layer over iron just as paint does and therefore prevent rust formation. Our next question is, what happens at the synapse between two neurons? A synapse is the gap between the two neurons. At synapse, the electrical signals are converted into chemicals that can easily cross over the gap and pass on to the next neuron, where it again converts into electrical signals. So now we are going to start our section 2. Section 2 will consist of 6 questions and each will carry 3 marks. So in section 2, our first question is, why do acids not show acidic behavior in the absence of water? So its answer is, acids have an acidic behavior due to the presence of hydrogen ions. Since hydrogen ions can only be formed in the presence of water, therefore water is required for acids to exhibit acidic behavior. Next question. What is hydrogenation? What is its industrial application? So its answer is, hydrogenation is the process of addition of hydrogen in unsaturated hydrocarbons in the presence of palladium and nickel catalysts to give saturated hydrocarbons. Its industrial application. Vegetable oils are converted into vegetable ghee by hydrogenation. Next question. What is the role of saliva in the digestion of food? What is the name of enzyme present in saliva? Saliva makes the food soft for easy swallowing. It contains a digestive enzyme called salivary amylase, which breaks down starch into sugar. Our next question is, what is geotropism? Name the part of plant which show positive and negative geotropism. So its answer is geotropism. What is geotropism? The growth of the parts of plants in response to the force of gravity. The upward growth of plant shoots is an instance of negative geotrophism. The downward growth of roots is positive geotropism. Next question. What are the changes seen in girls at the time of puberty? So its answer is changes seen in girls at the time of puberty are number 1, increase in breast size and darkening of skin of the nipples present at the tips of the breasts, appearance of hair in the genital area, appearance of hair in other areas of skin like underarms, face, hands, and legs, maturity in the reproductive organs, beginning of menstrual cycle, more secretion of oil from the skin, which results in the appearance of pimples. Our next question is, how is the sex of the child determined in human beings? So its answer is, a male has XY sex chromosome and produces two types of sperms. 50% of them carrying X chromosome and another 50% carrying the Y chromosome. A female carries XX sex chromosomes and hence produces only X carrying eggs. If X carrying eggs fuses with the X carrying sperm, the child born will be a girl. If X carrying eggs fuses with the Y carrying sperm, the child born will be a boy. Now see in this figure, father or male has XY chromosome, whereas mother or female have XX chromosome. If X chromosome of father and X chromosome of mother, they meet, then the result will be daughter. If Y chromosome of father and X chromosome of mother, they meet, then the result will be XY and they will be having son. Similarly, this, when X chromosome of father and X chromosome of mother, they interact with each other, then the result will be XX and it will be daughter. And if Y chromosome of father and X chromosome mother meet with each other, then result will be XY and it will be son. Now we come to section 3rd of our question paper. In section 3rd, there will be 3 questions with internal choice. Each carry 4 marks. Now let's start these questions. Our first question is, what is the name of finger-like projections on the lining of the small intestine? What is its functions? Finger-like projections on the lining of the small intestine are called villi. Now, functions of villi. These villi increase the surface area for food absorption. Within these villi, many blood vessels are present that absorb the digested food and carry it to the bloodstream. From the bloodstream, the absorbed food is delivered to each and every cell of the body. Next question. What is the importance of platelets in blood? So its answer is, platelets are tiny blood cells that help our body to form clots to stop bleeding. If one of our blood vessels gets damaged, it sends out signals to the platelets. The platelets then rush to the site of damage and form a plug or clot to fix the damage. Now our next question is, what are the differences between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? So now we will do difference between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So we will make this type of table. On one side we write autotrophic nutrition and on another side heterotrophic nutrition. Now first point of autotrophic nutrition. Food is synthesized from simple inorganic raw materials such as carbon dioxide and water. Whereas in heterotrophic nutrition, food is obtained directly or indirectly from autotrophs. This food is broken down with the help of enzymes. Again, in autotrophic nutrition, presence of green pigment, chlorophyll is necessary. And in heterotrophic nutrition, no pigment is required in this type of nutrition. In autotrophic nutrition, food is generally prepared during daytime, whereas in heterotrophic nutrition, food can be prepared at all times. In autotrophic nutrition, all green plants and some bacteria have this type of nutrition, whereas in heterotrophic nutrition, all animals and fungi have this type of nutrition. Our next question is, what are the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? So again, we will make this type of table. On one side, we will write aerobic respiration, and on another side, we will write anaerobic respiration. So first point in aerobic respiration, it occurs in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the absence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration, it involves the exchange of gases between the organism and the outside environment. Anaerobic respiration, exchange of gases is absent in anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, it occurs in cytoplasm and mitochondria, whereas in anaerobic respiration, it occurs only in cytoplasm. Aerobic respiration, it always releases carbon dioxide and water, whereas anaerobic respiration, it produces alcohols and carbon dioxide. In aerobic respiration, it yields large amount of energy. In anaerobic respiration, energy released is very low. So our next question is, differentiate between metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties. Students, we have discussed here both chemical properties as well as the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So you can learn both these properties, and which type of properties is asked in question paper, you can write according to that question. So on one side we will write metals and on another side we will write non-metals. So on the basis of chemical properties, when metals are heated with oxygen, they form ionic oxides which are basic in nature. Whereas when non-metals are heated with oxygen, they form covalent oxides which are acidic in nature. Metals, they are electropositive, lose electrons readily and become a positive ion. Non-metals, they are electronegative, gain electrons and become negative ions. Metals, metals are reducing agents. Non-metals, non-metals are oxidizing agents. On the basis of physical properties, metals, metals are lustrous, non-metals are non-lustrous, graphite is the exception. Metals are the good conductors of electricity and heat, whereas non-metals are non-conductors of electricity and heat. Graphite is the exception. All metals are solid except mercury. Non-metals are in solid, liquid and gaseous states. So our next question is, what is ionic compound? Why ionic compound conduct electricity in aqueous solution or molten form only? So its answer is ionic compounds can be defined as the chemical compound formed by opposite charged ions held together by ions, bonds, or electrostatic forces. Ionic compounds conduct electricity in molten state because in these compounds ions are free to move, and in molten state they contain cations and anions and hence conduct electricity. Our next question is, what is the importance of variation? So now we are going to discuss importance of variation. Variations help some organisms to fit better in the struggle for existence. Variations help to adapt according to the changing environment. Discontinuous variations produce new traits in the organisms. Variation is essential for growth and it takes place during sexual reproduction. Variations give each organism a distinct individuality. Next question. What is vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation is a process in which plants reproduce from stems, roots, and leaves. It is a form of asexual reproduction seen in plants. In fact, horticulturists use propagation methods such as grafting and budding to improve the plants. So, our next question is, how is the process of pollination different from fertilization? So for answer to this question, we will again make a table like this. On one side, we will write pollination and on another side, we will write fertilization. So first point in pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from an anther to a stigma. Whereas in fertilization, the fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. In pollination, pollen can be transferred by an animal or by the wind. Fertilization occurs once the pollen grain reaches the stigma. It produces a pollen tube which grows down through the style to the ovary. In pollination, the process can be done by the plant itself or through outside agents. Whereas in fertilization, for flowering plants, there can be no fertilization if there is no pollination. However, fertilization applies to almost every organism in this world. So, here we come to our last question, which is repeated. So, our last question is, what are the changes seen in girls at the time of puberty? So, changes seen in girls at the time of puberty are, number one, increase in breast size and darkening of skin of the nipples present at the tips of the breasts, appearance of hair in the genital area, appearance of hair in the other areas of skin like underarms, face, hands, and legs, maturity in the reproductive organs, beginning of menstrual cycle, more secretion of oils from the skin, which results in the appearance of pimples. So, students, today we have solved our sample paper of class 10 science, which is issued by Punjab School Education Board for term 2 examination. I hope that all of you have understood all the questions and all of you will perform very well in our term 2 board examination. So thanks for watching our video.